This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so let me recap it actually. Okay, so you have, I mean, somebody develops some reusable component, let us say email functionality. Okay, that is from, let us say, from your team basically, and that email functionality is common for any team, right? Because it's all about sending email to someone with your two email id, from email id, subject and body. Okay, only your data will change, functionality will remain same, right? So not each and every team required to develop it. Okay, then what happens, probably someone develops a reusable component in your company. They say that, hey, this is a dl, I mean, if it is a .NET, you call it as a dll. Okay, somebody creates a dll and say that, hey, this dll is having the functionality of sending email. Okay, and he will share it via some shared folder. Okay, and people will go and start using that dll for sending the email, basically. Okay, but the negative side of this approach is that when you make you are a developer, whenever your developer make a change to that component, he needs to ask each and every team to update their DLL in their application code. Okay, okay, you fine. You will simply send an email and leave it actually, but you're really not sure whether the other people are using it or not. And you need to version it. You need to maintain some documentation. You need to maintain, the security of your DLL, right? Who should access this? Who should not access, etc. All these things have to be maintained in our shared folder and in our Excel sheet for tracking. So to avoid all those things, right, we have this repository is called NuGet for the .NET developer, and Maven for the Java developer, and NPM for the Node.js developers. Okay, generally all the developer community, right, whoever is developing such kind of reusable components, they keep them in those repositories. Okay, now Azure DevOps also came up with this similar functionality called Azure Artifacts. If in your company, if somebody needs to share some reusable component with other teams, they can simply keep that reusable component in this Azure Artifacts. And you don't need to create some shared folder. You need to send any email notifications. Everything will be taken
Can
care
you
of by.
share your screen?
I'm sharing it.
No,
No.
we can't see anything.
Okay. Oh, sorry. No, I'm just talking only. I'm on the same slide.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Now you can see, right?
No, I can't see. Yeah, it's loading.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can
So
see.
we have a detailed sessions on each and every one of these things, Kiran. Okay, so where we will double click each and every one of these areas, right? That time you will have more clarity, but not even clarity. You will go and create a CI/CD pipeline to put that reusable component into this Azure artifacts, and there are many other aspects of this one as well. You will get to know there. Okay, but we will go in order. Okay, okay. Hope at least for the time being, you know what is basically Azure Artifacts. It is to share your reusable components created by your team members or your team with all other teams in your organization or external to your organization. All the security, notifications, updates, everything will be taken care of by your Azure Artifacts. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me spend a minute here, right? So as I told you in our first class, you have a on-premise Azure DevOps version and as well as a cloud Azure DevOps version, or you can call it as a cloud native. Okay. So whatever you are going to use or I am using, or most 99.99% companies are using is a cloud native Azure DevOps, which is online basically. And there are some government organizations or some financial organizations where they don't want to keep their data on the cloud basically. Okay, for such kind of people, what Microsoft did, they created a installer and installer. I mean, generally you install the software, right? And similarly, they give you this Azure DevOps Server installer. People can go ahead and install in their own data center in their servers, and you are responsible for all the software upgrades, hardware upgrades, and anything else basically in terms of management. Okay, there is no difference between Azure DevOps online and Azure DevOps on premise. Everything is as is basically. Okay, so but let's not worry about these things. You just simply need to know that there are on-premise version of this Azure DevOps as well. That's it. Okay, and if you see on the left hand side, if you are using Azure DevOps online, yeah, I mean, you have a support from Microsoft 24 by 7, and it is 99.9% availability. That means it is almost available 24 by 7, 365 days. And Microsoft takes care of all the monitoring, and you don't need to worry about performance of this application, right? If 100 developers are 100 DevOps engineers are using, it doesn't matter. Even 1 lakh people are using, doesn't matter. It is scalable, reliable, and it is having very good performance. But if it is our on-premise, you have to take care of all these areas to make your application working well. It is available all the 24 by 7, 365 days, no software issues, etc. You have to take care of everything if it is on-premise. Okay, that's the reason people don't want to take all this headache, right? That's why we are going to cloud. I explained in our previous sessions why people go to cloud. Okay, and we touched upon this one already. What are the DevOps building blocks? I mean, these are common. It doesn't matter which tool you are using, but these are the common building blocks: integration, deployment, continuous testing, smart environments, continuous monitoring, release management. And we are addressing all these different DevOps building blocks using Azure Boards, Repos, Pipelines, Artifacts, test plans. We covered it in our first class, so I'm just quickly doing it. Before we get into this Scrum methodology, let's get into Azure DevOps now, basically. As I told you, you can directly log into Azure DevOps portal, or you can go to the portal.azure.com, which is a Azure Cloud portal. From there, you can click on the DevOps and go. So let me go there, basically. All three of you, I mean, I know Sahul subscribed. Uh, Kiran and Lohit, did you guys also created a subscription?
We'll do to the portal.
Yeah. So because you can follow basically.
Sure.
Now I am going to portal.azure.com. Okay. So this, I mean, if you are already using, it will show you in the frequently used services, right? Azure DevOps Organizations, or you can search from here as well, right? DevOps. And there are many things. You just need to search with Azure DevOps Organizations. Okay. And you will get to this homepage. Okay, and in this homepage you have this link, actually, my Azure DevOps Organizations. Guys, since you are a DevOps engineer, by default you may not have access to this one, because first of all, to the portal you will not have access. Your Azure Cloud Administrator basically set up your account, or give access to your account to the portal.azure.com. So your account means your company's email ID basically in your organization. So you will simply log into portal.azure.com and you will come here, or else you will basically directly use portal, I mean, dev.azure.com. Okay, and you may have question, hey Puna, how do I give access to these different kinds of resources, right? So that comes under Azure Cloud Administration basically. While we are going through the other sessions, right, you will learn that one as well. Don't worry, I mean, you cover that. So I'm not taking that cloud administration as a separate activity. While we are working on this Azure DevOps, you will learn that one as well. Okay. Okay. So this is how, once you click on My Azure DevOps Organizations, you will land into this, page, basically dev.azure.com, and you see Azure DevOps Organizations, and create a new organization. Okay. So what are these organizations? That is what first you need to understand. Okay. Okay. So it is nothing but your client name, basically. Let us say you are working for a client called, let us say, Make My Trip or Yatra.com. I'm taking these examples. The reason everybody is familiar with those websites, right? At least each and every one of us at least used one time this make my trip or whatever IRCTs, etc. So you are familiar. That's why I'm taking those names. Let us say your client name is Make My Trip, and Make My Trip, when that guy become your client, obviously it's not one project, right? You will have a number of projects uh, uh, from him, right? Let us say if you go to Make My Trip itself, how many functionalities you have here? So you have a flight management, you have hotels, you have villas and apartments, packages, trains, buses, cabs, all these things, right? Okay. So it is not a one project, right? In the back end, I mean, if I have to explain you in our real time scenario, you might have a more than 10-15 teams working on all these areas. One team might be responsible for the flight management, other team might be responsible for hotel management, other team might be responsible for train management. There might be 10-15 database developers, there might be 10-15 UI engineers, and there might be 5-6 DevOps engineers. Okay. And there might be API developers who will create APIs in .NET or Java, Python, whatever it is, right? And there might be product owners who, because product owner is very important, right? Product owner is the person who knows, who is an expert in this travel domain or in the e-commerce domain, basically. He knows what features to be developed, because when Make My Trip come to you as a client, he doesn't know really what to be developed. All he tells you that, hey, I want to develop, I want to have all these features. Then your product owner is the expert who will go and explain, create a user stories or requirements, basically. Okay. And you will have hundreds of teams based on the number of requirements what you have. Okay. And the entire landing page or home page of this one might be one project. So I'm just trying to explain the complexity of any given application like this, right? You have many teams working on the same application. So internally, it may be it might be the project name for this could be flight management project, hotel management project, trains project. So you have let us say 10-15 projects internally, but for the end user, it is one application. Okay. Now, when you're working on Azure DevOps, so you have categories here. So let us say for working for Make My Trip, you can create an organization with name called Make My Trip. Because your company will not work only for Make My Trip client, right? You will work for many other clients as well. So if you have 10 clients, then you will create 10 organizations. This is for the security purpose, right? You don't want to merge the feature, development aspects of Make My Trip with other client, etc. Right? Nobody accepts it. That's the reason you have this categorization. Simply how you create your folders in your laptop. Similarly, you create an organization for a separation purpose, basically. Okay, let's go and create an organization. This is the first activity any DevOps engineer should do, basically. Of course, without doing this, you cannot move forward. Okay, let's create a new organization. Just continue. So you just need to change this, dev.azure.com is a root URL, and you just need to name it. By default, it will take the email ID of login, basically. You just need to change it. So for our lab purposes, I give a name as uh, online reservation portal, because my portal might have a flight management, train management, etc., right? But everything is a reservation. Just that's the reason I just given that name. or you can give some name, basically some funky name, right? Yes. Your planner is the company name. I'm just giving that name. Your planner is the company name, and we will host your projects in which region. So this is a cloud, right? And as I told you, data, I mean, whether it is a cloud or physical data center, the base is your servers, right? Even Microsoft might have hundreds of buildings or thousands of buildings, I mean, I would say data centers across the world, actually. Okay, why we need to select this region here? Like I mean, if you select South India, right? So then your data, whatever you are creating now, right, all will be resided in the data center that is in South India. Okay. uh, why I will select South India? If it is near to my location, the access to this data will be faster. As simple as that, basically. Okay, if you are working from US, okay, mostly, then you select central US. And if you're working from Brazil, select Brazil, like that, basically. But in cloud, right, most of the times, for Azure DevOps kind of features, it doesn't matter which location you will select. Okay, because this is only the difference in the backend. For the front end, I mean, whoever is, I mean, the for users, it doesn't make any difference, basically. I mean, he will not see any difference. Okay, so I simply put a South. I mean, it is asking me capture, right? Let me give it YBR by QHM. So I given my client name as your planner. Okay, already given some wrong one. It's already taken. Your planner, I would give 21. Okay, 6v3pj. Basically, what you did now, you created a space for your client, basically. Okay, immediately. So now I have other organizations as well, means my other clients, basically. Your planner 21 is my client. That's the reason I created a organization with the client name. And immediately I came to this option called create a project to get started. So okay, we generally give the names which are similar to your actual project names. Let us say your team is working on a flight management. You internally you are calling it as a flight management project, then we will give the same name here. That means it will create a space inside your organization. It creates a space for your flight management project, actually. Okay, but I'll give some test for the time being, because I'll tell you why I'm giving test. Because for the first time, right, you will see two options: public visibility. You can see visibility, public visibility and private visibility, but I'm not getting any advanced options. I want to get an advanced options. So but when I start my organization or create my organization for the first time, I don't get that one. That's the reason I'm just creating a test project. I select private. Private means this project will be accessible to the people to whom you give an access, basically. If you make it public, anyone can access this project. Even you create this project, even I can also access. Some XYZ outside the company also can access. It is like your public information in Wikipedia. Okay, for the timing, let's create a project, but I delete it later. Okay, so now you see, once you create a project and the project name is test, and you can see the breadcrumb here, right? You are in the organization your planner 21. This is your client name or organization name, and your project name is test. And you are in the overview page. You can see the overview, and that summary, you are in that summary page, basically. Okay, okay, we will talk about all these things. This is not much important. Okay, and all these things will automatically get updated. You can see the welcome to the projects, what all the things you can have, boards, repos, pipelines, test plans, that is what you see on the left hand side as well. Okay, and you see the dashboards. Right now everything is empty. I'll just go step by step. So you will see a dashboard, and on the top you see something called test team. Okay, you created a project, but you did not create any team called test team basically. But how it is created? When you create a project, your Azure DevOps create a team with your project name basically. My project name is test, that's why it created a team called test team. It is a default team basically, because when, I mean, if you compare with the real time, right, whenever some project created, there is a at least a one member team, right? That one member team is your project manager. So you have a team having only one project, one member basically. So that's the reason it will create a default team with the name of the project basically. Okay, and these are the dashboards. I can go and add some widgets, etc. Right now do not worry about all these things. Will Right now this is empty. While we are moving on, we will go and add it. Okay, and wikis, as I told you, this is to create a documentation basically. This is also not important, because these are very general things. Okay, will come here now. So now you have a project available, and what is the next thing you are planning? So you have a space for your organization, and inside that you have a space for your project. Okay, you are calling it as a test project, right? Now the next thing is that, requirements basically. Now everything is set up. All you need to do is onboarding your requirements, and then planning, and some other activities. You might be wondering, Puna, why do I need to know all these things? Requirements management, right? This is the responsibility of the project manager, or this is the responsibility of a scrum master. That's how you may think basically. Okay, but it's not how it works, right? Basically, you are a DevOps engineer. I'll tell you a couple of scenarios why you need to learn this. Okay, you are a DevOps engineer, and your project manager may not know about uh, Azure DevOps basically. He might be new to this one. Okay, you are the person who is going to teach them basically, or you are the person who is going to teach the entire project team, because they need to access their requirements, and your project manager need to assign the requirements to different team members, and he needs to manage his capacity, etc., etc. So you need to teach them, and you need to give access to the people, and you need to manage the look and feel or some other configurations of your requirements management. That is the reason you need to know even Azure Boards as well, which is for planning and requirements management phase of your software development lifecycle. Now, do you have an idea why we are learning Azure Boards as well? Hello.
Maybe
Yes.
for tracking different components like work and everything, like user stories.
Exactly, exactly. I'm
That
just
also.
giving some intro basically, because you need to know what you're going to learn. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new project, because as I told you, I did not get advanced options when I create the test for the first time. It happens only for the first time after you create an organization. After that, it will not. It will give you all the advanced options. Let me click on this organization. When I click on organization, I will come to the organization homepage here. Now I'll create a new project. I'll give name as online online reservation system. Okay, because my online reservation system contain many projects, right? Okay, many teams are there. That's the reason I just want to give name as online reservation system. And my project is private. That means I want to maintain who can access this project. And click on advanced. When you click on advanced, see here itself you need to select which your Azure DevOps supports. There are many version control systems. Okay, one is very famous, Git. Okay, people call it as a decentralized version control system. Okay, I will talk in detail when we go to the Azure Repos. That's where you learn about source code management. But for the time being, let's understand that you have two types of version controls: Git and Team Foundation version control system. Okay, I will select Git for the time being, because if you based on your project creation, all your other templates will be changed basically uh, in your project, in your DevOps project here. Okay, and in the work item process, this is nothing but your project management methodology. So right, your teams might be following waterfall methodology, they might be following no methodology, and they might be following Scrum methodology, and they might be following CMMI methodology. So these are the methodologies that project managers will have it. And of course, as a DevOps engineer, as a developer, you really don't maintain any templates, but you are a part of that project, and you need to know all the terms as well. If you go to any job description, right, they will mention even a developer or DevOps engineer, anyone, right? Working experience in Scrum based projects, working experience in Agile based projects, right? I mean, hopefully you might have come across such kind of scenarios. If you go and look into any JDs in the Naukri.com, you will find it, isn't it? So, I will select a template called Scrum template. Okay, work item process is nothing but a project management methodology. I say that, hey, my project teams are following Scrum methodology. Okay, that's it. Let's go and create it. Okay, there is no difference, you find it here at the moment, because you really don't know the other things basically. Now I have a online reservation system under my Your Planner client basically. Okay. Now the next thing is working with boards for the planning activity. Okay. You play a critical role here in terms of access permissions, and you will customize these templates, and you will customize the templates what you see here. But before getting into all this complexity, right? Let's understand the basics. Okay, the first phase in your project development is your requirements, right? Requirement management. Okay, so for simplicity, I already created a set of requirements. Okay, so I have these requirements. I want to create a landing page. Landing page is nothing but what you see here, right? You can call it as a landing page or home page, whatever it you see. You have many things here. Okay, I have a landing page, I have flight management, I have hotel management, cab management, train management, and then search for flights, search for hotels, book hotels, search for trains, book trains. Okay, these are the features what you see on the web application, right? And after that, I have some technical terms as well. UI design for search for flights. Okay, because I have this feature search for flights, there should be someone to design the UI, right? So there is a requirement called UI design for search for flights. DB, there should be some database. DB development for search for flights. There should be some APIs to provide that function. Means when you click on let us say when you give a destination as Goa and source as a Hyderabad, when you click on search, it might be calling some API to get that available flights, right? So for such kind of things, you have API development. And similarly, you have UI design for search for hotels, DB development for search for hotels, API development for search for hotels. Similarly, for trains, UI design, DB development, API development. And of course, you need to manage the user profile, right? So every time when you sign up for something, they take your email ID, mobile number, first name, last name, all those things. There should be some databases, there should be some UI, etc. Of course, when you are booking your flights or trains or something, you need to have some login information, right? You will get your user ID, password, and home page. Once you log into the application, whatever you see first time is called a home page. So these are all the requirements what I have, at very high level, right? But what you see here, there is no relationship here. Nobody knows what is the order of these requirements. Okay, now this is how your product owner gives it to your business analyst or project manager basically. Okay, now people will go and establish, right? Because there should be some parent child relationship, right? Otherwise there won't be any. So what happens otherwise? I may give this search for flights. I mean, you three are you Lohit, Kiran, and Sahul are one team. They are working on a search for flights. Okay, if there is no relationship established here, what happens? I'll give a hotel management feature to Sahul and search for flights to Kiran and some other thing to Lohit basically. But you belong to one team, but you got different requirements. So which is a problematic. See, I given a proper description. That's why you will be able to differentiate it. But in many of the times, you will not get a proper description for your requirements. Okay, for that reason, you need to have the parent-child relationship. Okay, so and now your team, right? Your scrum masters or a business analyst or project managers will create that relationship. Okay, you have the landing page. Flight management is a, what is the parent for flight management? It is a landing page. Hotel management parent is landing page. Cab management parent is landing page. Train management and search for flights, this is another requirement. What is the parent for this requirement? That is the flight management, you can see here. So that's how you created a parent child relationship between the requirements. After this, so guys, I am telling you the scenarios before you go and start using your DevOps platforms for the requirements management. Okay, now this is not just enough, right? This is a very generic terminology, parent child relationship, requirements, etc. It's a generic terminology. But when you are working in projects where people follow Scrum methodology or Agile methodology, the terminology will differ. Okay, you cannot simply requirement is a generic terminology, but there will be different terminologies in your Scrum methodology or any other project management methodology. What are those terminologies? Let's understand basically. Okay, so this is the parent, right? So each and many of these requirements are parents to someone. Okay, you see, landing page is a parent, flight management is a parent, search for flights is a parent. Okay, like this, right? And some of them are childs. So the terminology that you have in Scrum methodology will be like this. In Scrum methodology, you will use a different terminology called epic, feature, product backlog, task, and you have one more basically. So I would like to say epic, feature, product backlog, and then task. And you will have bugs as well. Once testing starts, you will get the bugs basically. Okay, so this is how you refer to the requirements in your Scrum methodology. Parents mostly will be called as epic. Let us say this is all context. There is no hard and fast rule. For me, landing page is an epic. Okay, for someone, hotel management could be an epic. Okay, so since I mean most parent means the grandfather kind of stuff is a landing page here, that's why I'm calling it as epic. Okay, after that I have many sub requirements under landing page. Those sub requirements are flight, hotel, cab, train. I will call them as a features. Under flight management, I have further sub features: search for flights, book for flights, and search for flights and book for flights basically. Okay, these are sub features of your hotel management feature. I call them as a product backlog. Okay, and UI design and DB development requirements are sub features of your search for flights option basically. I call them as a tasks. So that's how I categorize. But as a DevOps engineer, don't worry, I mean how they categorize, it's the responsibility of your business analyst or project manager. But you just need to know that this is how you refer to the requirements in Scrum methodology: epics, features, product backlog, task. It's nothing but a hierarchy basically. This is a parent, this is a child of epic, Product backlog is a child of feature. Task is a child of product backlog. This is a hierarchy. Okay. Why I am telling all these things? Because this is what you're going to see in your templates. Where I, yeah, here. So in boards, right, you have an option called work items. In work items, you will base, so here you call it as a work item, means your requirement basically. You will go and onboard all those requirements, whatever you see in Excel here basically by creating the work items. Okay. Now, first you basically select a work item called Epic, and there are a number of fields that whoever is onboarding these requirements into the tool, they have to ensure that all these details are filled in by them basically. Okay. As a DevOps engineer, you will not be doing all this data entry. It will be taken care by your project manager or a business analyst or product owner, so you don't worry about it. But you need to care for something about the customization of these fields, which will be in the later sessions of this program basically. Okay. This is how it looks. This is a template. Okay. This is a template for your Epic basically, for creating an Epic. Okay, let's go back. Similarly, you have a template for creating a feature. You see it, right? Let's go back to work item. Click on back to work items, and similarly for your product backlog item. Okay. Similarly for your tasks. Right now I'm not creating anything. Okay. And you see some options like boards. You call it as a Kanban boards, and backlogs, sprints, and queries. So I will go in detail all of these things tomorrow, but not in this order basically. I will go by our planning criteria, how our teams regularly do it in our project work, right? That way we will go. So tomorrow, if you have 10 minutes, I will clear this. Otherwise, I will start with this tomorrow basically. So I will explain you how the Scrum teams works, how the Scrum methodology works in your regular life, right? Whether you are a DevOps engineer, whether you are a developer, whether you are a project manager, all you are part of your team, right? So everybody needs to know how Scrum works, what are the different terminologies, how the people develop features, and do the build and deployments, and send it to or deploy to different environments. All depends on this methodology. So this is a single slide which explains each and everything about your Scrum methodology. So I will go step by step. I will start from product backlog and then go and configure the items in uh, the relevant features in this boards actually. Each and every each and every box here has a relevant feature in a related feature in Azure Boards basically, each and everything. So that's how I'm going to show you uh, uh, how you configure your Azure Boards for your teams basically. Okay. So 8:10, I just would like to stop for today, and tomorrow we'll start with this product backlog and configure the relevant items in the Azure Boards. Any doubts, guys?
Yeah, one doubt.
Yeah.
So you said like we need to delete the project every time once we are done with our work.
No, no, not here. Not in the Azure Boards basically. Sorry, not in the Azure DevOps. Okay.
Okay.
This is all free for you. Okay. Uh, I deleted test because I don't get all these options. Whenever you create an organization for the first time, right, it is immediately taking you to the create a project screen. Okay, there I don't get the advanced option. That's the reason I deleted that one, but nothing other than that, because I want
Okay.
to follow the Scrum methodology. You can keep it that one as well, but it doesn't matter. But it is a waste of time or in a waste of space, right? That's the reason I
But
deleted.
how
Yeah.
how would we know that the stuff which we have created won't consume the credits?
Because when you create a project, let us say, let's go here, right? You are in online registration. So when you create a project, for the first time I did not get this option, right? Advanced. I didn't have option to select any one of these templates. Okay. Once I entered into the organization and click on the create a project, I got these two options as well. If you remember, if you go back to
Yeah.
the previous, I mean, 10 minutes ago, basically. That's by design, basically. That's it. If you want to delete this project, I did not delete it. Test. All you have to do is go into the project, and then in the bottom, you have a project settings. Click on this bottom left corner. Since I'm an administrator, I can do anything because we started this. And on the bottom, you see a delete projects here. Click on delete, and this just type that now same project name and delete it. It will get deleted. It takes some time for it to reflect your UI, but it got deleted basically. Okay. The
Okay.
other
So
thing what I'm
creating
saying, yeah,
creating the project won't consume any of our credits, and it is free of cost.
exactly.
So what
I
if
told you, right?
if we consume any of the
Let me
resources?
exactly. Let me complete that. Your Azure
Okay.
DevOps validity is 90 days. Okay, and it doesn't consume any one of your credits. Whatever you are doing doesn't consume any one of your credits. But if you go to the one portal.azure.com, right, which is your main portal for your Azure cloud administration here, right? Okay. Now, if you go and create any resource, very simple thing is that, create a virtual machine, right? Let us say you go and search for a virtual machine, go and create it. If we create this one, right, it will start consuming your credits basically, because this is the infrastructure. You need to pay for this basically. Okay. So, but during the training, what happens? You will create it, you learn it, and then you destroy it, so that you are effectively utilizing your free credits. Otherwise, what happens? Let us say myself, right? I'm using my own credit card, because whatever I'm doing the training, right, I'm paying for it actually. The reason, uh, you used one credit card now, right, for this subscription. Okay. After 30 days, you cannot reuse that credit card for the free subscription. You need to use another credit card for a free subscription of 1 month basically. So I adjusted all my credit cards many years ago. I started using my pay as you go option. So for everything I'm paying now basically. Okay. You see pay as you go option. So I'm paying it actually basically.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the reason I'm saying, once you do it, just delete it. But but don't do it now, guys, because I mean, of course, clicking next will not have any problem. You can go and explore it. But anyways, I'll be covering all these things as part of our sessions, because I need to create some machines for deploying the applications, and for configuring web servers like IIS, right? IIS, Internet Information Service, etc. All those things will be done here itself. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So okay, then we'll catch up tomorrow, and then we'll start with the Scrum methodology, and then start configuring the Azure boards. It will take a couple of sessions to close that. Okay. Please let me know if any questions you have, even in WhatsApp as well. Okay. Have a good day.
Thanks.